Welcome to Small Business, Big Network, the podcast for small business owners who want big results from their networking. I'm Liz Drury, a freelance voiceover artist who knows that if you're not working, then networking could help. Lou Camish is a video marketing specialist with the interestingly named Jellyfielder Studios. She and her business partners have been using networking to grow their business for a number of years, first in person and now online. So Lou, thank you very much for joining me on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
So I've got to ask you first of all, the name of your company is so unusual. How did the name Jellyfielders come about?
I get asked this all the time, and it feels a bit of a fraud because it's not really my story. So Jellyfielders actually began a couple of years before I joined. My colleagues Mike and Chris, they set it up while at university as a creative film endeavour. Did some great creative films then, and they had another member whose last name was Saunders, so they combined their last names into, it's Mike Gels, Chris Suffield, and then Saunders being the last name, so it became Jellyfielders. So it's not actually that interesting a story, but everybody always kind of asks, and I've had a lot of frustrations over the years because it seems to be directed at me, and it was nothing to do with me. But over the years, actually, I've grown to really like it because people do ask. It is something that sticks in people's names, and we've had some really funny mistakes: jelly finders, jelly fiddlers, jellyfish. We've heard it all, so it's always something fun to come back to.
Yeah,
sorry, it's not that interesting.
It's a talking point, isn't it? And
yeah.
And anything that makes you memorable is good, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, the jelly bit is definitely the more memorable bit. People kind of lose it after there, unless they know us a while. But it has stuck in people's minds. So it has been great when we've had past clients that we haven't seen in a few years, or they've moved jobs that have then kind of come back to us for their new endeavours. And they always seem to remember us, and it's not difficult to find us online if you remember the jellyfin. As long as you remember that part of it, you're going to be able to find us online. So it does actually have its benefits in that way.
Yeah, definitely. So what about your background story? How did you get into the video industry?
I started actually when I was about 12, working in stage shows for the school, local and jam society. I wanted to be a stage manager for a very long time. I love the theatre, I still do. And I kind of progressed, went to college, did theatre studies, did media studies alongside it, and then kind of just slowly took the route into producing instead. But when I left university, I just spent the whole of my third year trying to find jobs, anything, work experience at the BBC, anything that would get me into kind of that side of the industry. And they're just so competitive. There's a lot of people studying, still is a lot of people studying what I studied. And so, I kind of came out of university with the idea of just set it up, do it yourself, make kind of promotional videos. And when I left university, that was kind of the year that YouTube launched. Mm-hmm. Puts some indication on my age. So, it was kind of a really nice position to be in, that there was this new platform, there was a whole new way of being able to market people's videos, and I just left with a degree in how to do that. So I met Chris and Mike on a creative film shoot. Our lecturer at the time kind of puts together, said, I think you guys will get on. And we've kind of stuck together ever since, just doing this.
Oh, that's really great. And so what kind of projects do you really like to work on?
I think within the three of us in the company, we all have our different projects. Obviously, the ones where I get to feel like a producer, which is what I always wanted to do, they're my favourite to work on, but usually that involves big casts and things like that. And we've done some amazing things over the years. We did some training videos for Seagate hard drives, which were an awful lot of fun. That was actors again. We worked for the NHS. It was one of our first big tender contracts when we moved into London at the end, 2007-8, and that involved, I think, 36 actors that we had to cast in that, and we had 2 shooting weekends in a hospital to do the training videos for that. So that was an incredible experience. For me now, what I really enjoy doing is finding the small businesses that want a lot of content. One of my favourite clients to work with is called Old MacDonald's Farm. They're a kids park in Essex. They have a petting zoo, they have animals, donkeys, they have meerkats, they have rides for kids. It's just a really lovely place. And we create quite a lot of content from them based on only 1 or 2 days worth of filming. So we'll go down there, film, and then they've got a whole year's worth of content. And it's a lot of fun because it's all bright and colourful, and exciting stuff. But it's also given me a lot of opportunities, things like that. One of my lifelong ambitions was to feed a meerkat, to meet a meerkat in real life. And when we went to film there, they allowed me into the meerkat pen to film with them. So I had them all kind of sitting on top of me. So it was kind of like, I love the clients where I get to do things that I'm just like, yeah, no one else is doing this. No one else is doing this today. This is what I'm doing. That's what's exciting to me.
So where do you find that your work comes from?
Well, I think over the years we've found a good level of clients that love our work, come back to us time and time again. And I think most businesses will appreciate that kind of repeat businesses is where you're going to get the majority of work. But from that comes a lot of referrals, and referral marketing for us is like one of the biggest angles for getting more work and finding new leads. There's obviously finding the route to it, and this is part of what we do. We teach people how to lead generate and how to kind of build their networks through their existing networks. So we create a lot of content and stuff that goes out supporting other people. We do our Call the Shots Director's Cut. We do the for networking. I run the Marketing Monday, and together it all combines to create an online presence that kind of people can't ignore, that people get to know us, and they kind of, Mike is always off doing other networking events as well. And Chris has 3 things. He has We Love Movies, which is a movie review site, Untethered Geek, which is a video version of that, an animated video version of that, and the Stock Footage Sketch Show, which is a sketch show made out of stock footage. So we're constantly creating content for ourselves as well as other people. So I would say the majority of our work comes through people doing exactly what we teach people to do, which is finding us through our networking and online endeavours, and then kind of coming to a networking event, getting to know us that way, and then building up that relationship over time. That's where most of our new work comes from.
And how have you found the last year? How has your business been affected by the lockdown?
It's a difficult one. In some ways it's been absolutely incredible, and I'm so excited with the things that we've managed to do in the last year. And on another side of things, it's been absolutely devastating for us. We, before lockdown, I think we worked out that about a good 75% of our work comes from projects that we film and then edit. So we do the whole thing, and then suddenly filming's gone. We can always do the editing, but when we went into lockdown, we had some stuff that we had filmed that was still in the edit stages, so that carried us through a little while. But it was just about finding kind of ways of being able to create people's content without just solely looking at stock footage, because it makes us cringe a bit, because it's so unbespoke and it's so, it can be fun, it can be right for the right projects. I'm not dissing stock footage at all, but it's not necessarily the best way to market yourself, especially during lockdown. But what has been amazing is seeing so many businesses become more comfortable being on camera through the use of Zoom. So we've found a really great niche in helping businesses use Zoom to record their content, to create content as they go. We've managed to move our training workshops online, which has really, really helped. And I know we've had a lot of businesses that have come to us to help with that, both kind of corporate-sized businesses who want their entire teams trained and individuals that need a bit of extra help. We take you through kind of filming with your own devices and then how to edit, so people then go away with the skills to create this content for themselves. And I think for us, what we've really learned in lockdown is that whilst our actual work comes from the filming and editing, the benefits of video are kind of, for our clients, exceed the individual parts of actually making a video. And there are ways for people to be able to kind of, even in the strictest lockdown, be able to still make content, and it's been great seeing some people be really creative with that. The other side of things was the animation side of work. We do a lot of animated work, and we've seen a real pick-up of that over the last year, which has been great. It's been great because I run a lot of the animation work and I love doing that, so that's been fun.
So, and are you seeing things coming back now that we're coming out of lockdown? Are you getting more bookings to go and do actual filming in real places with real people?
Strangely enough, not so much on the filming front at the moment. The work that we're still discussing with people is still very much in an animated front, and I think that partly becomes because of the video process in terms of how our clients approach having a video made. They can be thinking 6 months before they get to the stage of having it done. When we do pre-production on something that's filming, we need at least like 3 weeks to get to the point before we film. we can generally do quick turnaround stuff. If you say, oh, I've got an event tomorrow in London, we might have someone available, we can send someone to film, that's fine. But when you get into the bigger corporate productions, your cornerstone videos and things like that, it does take a bit of pre-production time and talking to the client, getting the messaging right. So I think what we're seeing now is kind of just the offshoot of the last 6 months, people not knowing what's happening and having prepared in their minds that their content will be animated or will be X, Y, Z. So I'm hoping that once lockdown starts, people will start then thinking about the filming content again, and we'll start seeing that drip through. But at the same time, we do have a lot of clients, existing clients, returning clients that we've told we're back filming again, and I know some of them are likely to be jumping at the bit because it's been a year since they've been able to actually have any proper content filmed.
Yeah. So presumably before the lockdown, all the networking that you were doing was in person. So how did you find things different in the online space?
I mean, I'll be honest with you, I think I'm one of the few people that absolutely loves it. I absolutely adore doing it online, and the idea of going back to meeting people in a room absolutely terrifies me. Just purely because I think that for me, it's a big time saver. But just before lockdown, I was preparing to lead a group in central London, and I love doing that, and I would like to do sort of that thing again, but I found that travelling in and out, it'd be 90 minutes either side that I would lose. So, you kind of potentially losing 2 to 3 hours of your day to get to a networking event and back. And then in the room, I always found it a real struggle, because no matter, and you must know this as a voiceover artist, you try and do something and there's always going to be some technical issues. And I found that in the room trying to do foresights and things like that was really challenging because I couldn't rely on the tech that was going to be at the location where I was going. I couldn't necessarily rely on the fact that if it was a busy meeting, everybody could see a very small computer screen. And because what we do is so visual, it was really important to me that people could see what we do. Getting up there as a video marketing specialist and not showing any video seemed a bit weird to me. And there were so many times where I did a foresight and something would go wrong, it'd fail. But online, I have all the tech. A few weeks ago, I went to the first IT and innovation group on a Friday, and I test ran something that I will be doing a little bit more actually, and that's that I've managed to rig away for my live character animator to play in the video screen. So while we're talking or while I'm doing 40 seconds, I can appear as the animated version of me, and it moves live and tracks my face and everything.
Oh, brilliant.
So there's whole other ways of marketing stuff online. That's something we can set clients up with. It's not, you need certain Adobe products which don't come cheap, I'll be honest with you, but if someone is terrified of appearing on camera, we can set you up with an animated avatar that will move and use the camera to track you and sync your mouth movements with what you're saying. So being able to move online has just opened up a whole world for us in terms of how we can help people market. And also, as I said earlier, that confidence thing that people now have. I think going back into the real world, people being on camera, it's not going to faze them so much as it has done in the past. And I'm excited about that.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned that you helped to run a group. What made you decide to do that, and what do you get out of it?
When we, I can't remember, like 2011, 2012, around then, Jellyfielders, we'd been doing lots of kind of, those networking events where you go up and you turn up in a room and it's kind of like, it costs you £5 to get in, and everybody's just jamming business cards and everybody else's faces and running away. And we kind of didn't know a great deal about referral networking, but we discovered BNI. We joined BNI, and I was wrangled into becoming group leader with a friend of mine that was in the group. And I was group leader, I was secretary treasurer at BNI group for about 2.5 years. And there was about 6 months overlap. And I really struggled with BNI towards the end because of the weekly same time every week. And we were a Wednesday lunchtime group, and so, travel, one-to-ones either side of it, that's Wednesday's gone. Wednesday was BNI day, and I was just out of it. So we kind of left after, I think, about 4 or 5 years at BNI. I went off and just stopped doing any of that sort of networking for a while, just kind of moved completely online, doing stuff, video content and things like that. I wouldn't say the company suffered, but we definitely had a kind of drop in how we manage new people online, where the revenue streams were coming from. We definitely saw a drop with our online and networking things. And then I met Chris Bridgman, the wonderful Chris Bridgman, who is at every networking event in London for a while, and he he'd met my colleague Mike and just said, come along, see about for networking. And I think the thing that struck me when I walked in was just how relaxed it was compared to something like I'd been to a few BNI groups and I found them to be quite... I've got nothing against BNI. BNI works. I'm not saying anything bad about it. I still have a lot of love for BNI. But the way that for networking, and I didn't want to be a group leader. When I started, I was like, I'm not doing it. If they ask, I'm not doing it. But I quickly found through talking to people like Karen and Louis that being a group leader isn't quite structured, and I'd have a bit more control over how I marketed it, how I wanted to kind of... The script's the same, but I mean, you've been to one of my groups, you've been to other groups, and I try and make it feel different from others, and I'm allowed to do that, and there's a lot of flexibility in how I want to move that group forward. And the other aspect of it was the themed groups for me. Being able to have a Marketing Monday group is just amazing for us because, you know, we do digital marketing, that's what we do. Being able to theme our group and being able to say, right, well, not only do we do all this, but we support a group of other marketers, other professionals, other businesses that can come along, arranging the foresights. And I love arranging the foresights because I basically create a list of people that I want to listen to, talk to. And then it's like I'm kind of getting my free once a week, you know, well, other than membership, you know, 20-minute presentation on whatever I need to learn that week. And it's really helpful for the other people as well. So for me, for networking isn't so much about getting work and getting leads, which we do. We have found work through for networking. That's not to say that we haven't. To me, what it is about having that family community feel to a group where I can go on a Monday evening, I can see a lot of the same faces, a few new faces, and have one-to-ones with them and catch up, find out how their kids are, how their dogs are, how their cat is, and just know kind of really what's going on in my local network's lives. And if I can see something where it's like, okay, well, I see that you're doing this and that's great, but I can probably help you with that in some way, shape or form, then I want to help. I think the thing that BNI taught me is the whole givers gain aspect, which is their motto. And I think I try to, you know, I know for networking has that feel and I love that. And I try and kind of look at everything with that. How can we help the people in our group? How can we do that? And at the end of the day, through doing that, I'm hopefully building a reputation of someone that is approachable, someone that's friendly, and someone that knows their stuff. And that's what creating a digital presence is all about. That's what organic content marketing is about.
I think you've touched on...
And it helps with our content.
Yeah. I think you've touched on something very interesting there. Where you mentioned about the foresights, which is particular to 4N. That's their education slot. So what kind of things have you learned from the speakers that you've had come to your group?
So some of the stuff that I've learned is more. There's two things. There's learning new stuff, which I'll get to in a second. Some of the stuff I've learned is really just to trust my gut, because there are theories and stuff that we work out within our own marketing strategies. And I invite other marketers, even other videographers, to come to our group and talk about their strategies. And what's really helpful for me is, okay, well, you're doing this differently. Maybe I don't agree with you on this part of it, but this part matches up. And I think that for our strategy and other people's strategies, I think that when you're in this sort of industry and it's all about this kind of non-tangible strategy, you know, it scares a lot of people because it's like, well, what is it? What does it actually mean? Well, it means nothing. It means that what we're trying to do is we're trying to play the game a few steps ahead of everybody else in figuring out how to make the most of the online world. That is all we're doing. And being able to hear other marketers speak about their processes and things like that has been really great for me backing up my own knowledge. And I think other people would say the same when they hear my foresights about our strategy. It's like, okay, well, yeah, I've had a lot of people that do umbrella marketing. They don't get into the nitty-gritty of social media or video or anything like that. And they understand the overall, but they don't understand the video specialism. So there's a lot of crossover there. And that's great. On the other side of it, the foresights that I love are the ones I haven't got a clue about. So there's a guy called Elliot who's done a couple at ours, and he talks about Facebook ads. He took us through how to launch and create your first Facebook ad campaign, which is something that I think is scary. So as well as understanding it for me and being able to go, you know what, I might give some Facebook ads a go just for the fun of it, so that I can better inform my clients. It's really helped me with my overall view of the digital landscape, the marketing that we do. It's very easy to become very pinpoint focused on video. There's lots of different types of marketing that work. So the foresights that I try and get in are people who are coming from different areas of marketing, but that I might be able to learn from and that might be able to learn from me. And it's just so much fun.
So have you been able to find people to collaborate with through your group, and have you found suppliers? Because it's not just about trying to find clients, is it?
No, well, we have two different areas. Obviously, there's the supply of within the creative landscape. We're kind of at the bottom of the pile in where clients go. So they'll often have someone doing their overall marketing. They'll often have someone doing branding and design before they come to us. On the occasion that they don't have any of these things, we can send people back to people that we've met for networking and things like that. But because we're at the bottom of the pile, we don't necessarily have such an upward referral to the creative parts. I mean, there's always ways of collaborating with people that we do through our Call the Shots Director's Cut videos, our web series, inviting people on our channel, just like you've invited me on this podcast. So there's that sort of collaboration. I think one of the biggest link-ups to me is obviously, I'm just going to name drop here, Mona King, who's graphic designer. And when I first started For Networking, she was one of the very first people I met, and she introduced me to two lovely other people, Sass and Sarah. Sass has now become a For Networking member. Sass is a marketer and Sarah is a copywriter, and we formed a kind of little bubble together. I'm not necessarily allowed to talk about it so much because it's still in development, but yeah, there will be we're looking at a combined marketing solution for all forms of content on a kind of under one banner type thing. And that's very much something that's come about through a For Networking connection, which is something that's really exciting for us because we're involved in something separately. So yeah, there's going to be news about that coming hopefully soon.
This all sounds brilliant. So it's been lovely to chat to you. And finally, where can people find you?
People can find us all over, really. You just search Jellyfielders and we come up, or Jelly F video, and we'll come up. But our tag is at Jellyfielders for most things. You can find us there, or our website is jellyfielders.tv.
Lovely. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope to see you at another networking meeting soon.
Well, I hope to come and foresight at our networking event very soon.
I would love to do that.
Awesome. I'll hold you to it.
Thanks for listening to Small Business, Big Network. If you found this podcast useful, please do rate, review and subscribe. And don't forget to share it with the rest of your network too.